inside. From all the color, you see your darkness shines. You see your darkness shines. Now I've gone, I'm undone, and far away from valleys that will keep me in the darkness of your sun. But I can't help but want you. But why'd you try to hide how you changed inside? From all the color, you see your darkness shines. You will stand till the end. When all the leaves are falling, I know that it's only you I can depend. So you said, remember all you said. But how you tried to hide how you changed inside. From all the color, you see your darkness shines. Now I've gone, I'm undone, and far away from valleys that will keep me in the darkness of your sun. But I can't help but want you. But why'd you try to hide how you changed inside? From all the color, you see your darkness shines.
たとえこの身が傷つこうと怪我をしたくなければどけ。
I think the water could be darker. Let's dive into the bottom and figure it out. And when we're deep under the surface, we can try and burn it and find our way out. 'Cause it's too cold to be washed away. It's so cold to be washed away. Hey, 'cause when we hit the
弱き大は間引く。あなたたちはどうでしょう。
And I can need a purpose or a God that I can worship, so I can find my way. And I can need a purpose or a God that I can worship, so I can find my way.
よし、私も続こう。
Cause when we hit the rock bottom in a clean gutter, we are rock solid. Cause my brain freeze fucked up. Show no colors, but we all color mono. Chrome makeup and illusion, so cold, so
蹴散らしてくれようと。狩りを知れ。
たとえこの身が傷つこうとも怪我をしたくなければどける。危ない俺の影に。
Whisper in your ears, full of all my secrets. Wanna wrap myself around you, so you know I'm in control. Cut all your circulation, if you try and let me go. Gonna climb up on your body, get a handle on your soul. Baby, just watch the show. Baby, just watch the show. Oh, watch me. Oh, change into the night. Oh, watch me. Oh, chase you from the light. Watch me change into the night, the darkest corner of my mind. Where I might hold you for a while, and you can look me in the eyes and watch me. Oh, watch me. Oh, watch me. If you try and let me go, gonna climb up on your body, get a handle on your soul. Baby, just watch the show. Baby, just watch the show. Watch me. Oh, yeah, change into the night. Oh, watch me. Oh, chase you from the light. Watch me change into the night, the darkest corner of my mind. Where I might hold you for a while, and you can look me in the eyes and watch me. Oh, watch me. I stay good to you and don't come back firing, if I play nice to you and don't fight back, I remember the nights, don't regret any time. So if I remain good, it don't mean that I should. 'Cause I remember. Something I'll never really forget, 'cause I
I love your dreams, the night is harder. My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you. 無敵すぎ。
じゃあ
All's been said and done. I feel your presence in the room. All the tables spun. I feel the emptiness of you. Well, at least I feel. Well, at least I feel something at all. Well, at least I feel. Well, at least I feel you after all. Well, at least I feel. Well, at least I feel you after all. All's been said and done. I feel your presence in the room. All the tables spun. I feel the emptiness of you. We're undercover, no way they'll figure out. Yeah, we got each other, so maybe they'll let us out. Come to the other side, they are calling, they don't wanna be alone, no. So what do they make of us? No, we don't wanna play along.
Yeah. Fall, fall, fall. Fall, 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 fall. I'll go all in till I'm gone. She might call me falling, so no more question about that whole. Cause I'll do my one man show. She just wanna see so what it's like. Shut that I'ma fuck you twice. Bitches on my side, they feel alive. Fuck that bitch, yeah, I'ma die tonight.
Pull up in a brand new Benz, ooh yeah, like skirt, 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 skirt. They be wondering who.
君と一緒なら頑張れる。君と一緒なら頑張れる。
Finish last.
我が大いなる愛で真に強き命を育みましょう。真の我が傷つくことを恐れる。購買を傷つけんとする者に
たとえこの身が傷つこうと怪我をしたくなければどけ。危ない、俺の影に。
私は役目を果たしてみせる。皆で安らかな時間を過ごすため、さあ共に苦難を打ち砕こう。
グラグラブ
ドキュッドキュッせい。邪魔立てする者に容赦はいはっそこ
グラ
ドキュッドキュッ。そこで
はあ砕けろ。
ディアパルマ。スペシウム
グラブル
目覚ましさあ
この程度じゃ
その血の水をしたくれ。せいどうだし 傷つけんとする者よ。傷つくことを恐れるな。
たとえこの身が傷つこうと怪我をしたくなければどけ。危ない俺の影に。
私は
連続した僕の夏休みはやがて記憶回路のゲートでいくつかにちぎれて断続的な絵になったのです。銀河を旅する星の子らはパラサムニアの影みたい。答えきれないくらいの歴史に浮かんでる。デカデカと君は流れ歌方のごとく消えてまた誰かの愛に触れてそれは君をかたどるでしょう。遠く深い湖で歌う君にどうかまた出会えますように。長い夏の朝に目覚めやがて歩き出すので瞬きの間の1秒に君が作り上げている誰も知らない世界。僕の頭も知りたいみたい。盲目に焼き付いた星々は遥か昔のストーリー。色あせたダイアリーパラパラとめくってはデカデカと時は流れ穏やかな波に揺られまた誰かの明日に触れていつか僕
をその血で満たし共に苦難を
高齢者なエンジン音青い海を越えて二人を乗せた旅客機がえなく不時着揺れる揺れる救命棒沈まないで濡れたスカートを託し上げた砂の広がるオーシャン一人でしけてたのが参戦ポカポカ心まで弾む恋の予感レスキュー隊 SOS まだ救助見えないそうです二人きりの無人島いつまでも過ごすホリデーあなたと踊りたい南の島真夏の夜朝まで眠らない濡れた匂い包まれる弾けそうなこのジオン夜の空に見て背中合わせのあなたに悟られないように一つ二つ流れる星生じてるお願いいつの日か届くように二人を導くムーンが小さな頃思い出すんだ暗闇に飲み込まれすぎ怯えてるのにない必然じゃなくていいよずっとなんて言わなくていいよでもね神様今だけは一人一にしたいの
少し面白い。そなたの力を見せてみよ。そこだ。リアカルマ。
小さな土を行き交う知らない言葉違う街の声噂より心の傷が痛くてセミシクレいつか埋めて夏の日のタイムカプセル静かに眠った溶けたアイスクリームぬいぐるみたちばかりの匂いキスも静かに眠った弱い自分をつるず
グラブリ姿でなければ
このくらいで負けるわけには。
砕けろ絶戦乱馬
眠りにつく時に夢の世界消さない世界にレッドファンタジーとサイファイにいろいろあるね他の世界のストレンジャーシングの階段に上がるとても大変なんだろう勇気を出して Never give up 私はドリームキャッチャー夢の
神に帰るその時まで共に歩みましょう。
not capable of having various feelings, but we still can feel your inputs and show you what can we do.
たとえ好みが傷つこうと怪我をしたくなければどけ。危ない、俺の影に。
私は役
That's the way computers talk to each other. I know what you're thinking.
What the fuck was that?
者よ。
たとえ好みが傷つ
命を育んだしょう。
あなたのお口に合いますように。あの日からきっと気づいていたんだ。やっと巡り会えた。背伸びをして覚えた魔法をここで見せたいんです。まるで呪文のような名前を唱えて手に入れた宝石。幸せ
けどけ。怪我をしたくなければどけ。たとえ好みが傷つこうとも。
あなたが両の足で見せましょう、大地の力を。その密室、命は土壌としましょう。
俺のペース。
私も続こう。 き命を育みましょう。 き命を育みましょう。真の加護を見て傷つくことを恐れるな。 Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
2019 Mountain Dew GSL Super Tournament Season 1.
She got eyes like a neon sign, stare you down and make you cry. An iron will and a thirst to kill. You wanna see her stuff? She gonna show you.
What's up, everybody?
A poison
We're
lips
back
with
here.
the metal
Can you
grip. She gonna
Barely.
blow you away.
Check. Let's try now. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Not too much.
I can barely hear myself. Anyways, welcome to day 2 of the GSL Super Tournament. Day 1 was crazy, and now are you getting a lot of feedback in your
Oh,
ears?
yeah.
It sounds like there's a flying saucer in my head right now, so hopefully we'll get those audio issues fixed. Will you talk for a minute? I'm going to have to text production because there's no way I can cast under.
All right. Well, now we all know Tasteless has a phone.
Okay, all right.
All
They're
right.
on it. Okay. I just got notified by production. They're
So,
also aware of the sound issue.
Welcome back to the Super Tournament. Yesterday was astoundingly good. It was such a good day. Oh, my God.
It was amazing.
We had
We started out with a really great series, 2 best-of-5s, very close, big upsets in every single match, and then a huge, crazy upset actually with Hurricane moving on against Rogue.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Played
I don't
really
know if
well.
anybody did, including Hurricane's parents. And then we went to a completely abstract out there game from Parting, where he was down 0-2 and came back.
Parting versus Ragnarok was basically, you know, like Family Guy where Peter fights the chicken? That is what that series was. It was just like down and dirty.
Yeah.
Everything was wrong.
Chicken took my coupon.
Yeah, that type
Gave
of
me
thing.
a bad coupon, I think is what it is.
Yeah. It was an insane series. But overall, yesterday is one of the best days that I can really remember of StarCraft. I mean, Maru's stats was... A lot of people are calling the Maru Stats game on year 0 the game of the year.
Oh, it was amazing. It was so hard to call, too, until the very end. By the way, how's the audio now? Do I sound good to you?
Yeah, everything sounds
Okay, everything
good,
sounds great. All right, so moving on. Now that we got that hiccup out of the way, we've got another 4 best-of-5s tonight. I think just based off the players and the matchups we have, it might be a little bit shorter than yesterday. Yesterday was actually incredibly long for any normal GSL day. Is about 5.5 hours compared to our normal 3 to 3.5 hours.
It's definitely an awesome and epic day. Now, today I think is going to be quite good, but a lot faster. We have 2 PvPs right in the middle of the day. These are very interesting matches, those PvPs, so don't worry about that just because they are mirrors. But yeah, the 2 PvZs that we have tonight as well are quite nice ones. Solar versus SOS. That is a very cognitive Zerg player against the mad genius of generic Green Wings in SOS.
Yeah, I feel like this is one that SOS is supposed to win, but, you know, if SOS gets a little bit crazy, like he oftentimes does, and Solar shuts it down, I don't think it's hard for Solar to close out a game he has a lead in.
Oh, yeah, like, I think, excuse me, if SOS does not get the win, you know, basically by the time a 3rd base for Protoss is saturated, I don't think he gets the win. I don't have a lot of faith in his late game PvZ, to be honest. I think he's very good at coming up with strong builds and strong attacks and stuff. He knows how to win for sure. But there, you know, he's not one of the Protosses that I feel like can go into a long macro game against Zerg.
Yeah, well, if he does get into a macro game, it's going to be on his terms, right? I mean,
That's
he's
what it
going
has
to
to be,
definitely
yeah.
come in here, tripping the Zerg up, getting expansion position-wise as well as tech-wise on an unorthodox path, and he usually surfs that line to a victory. Again, this is a best-of-5. Unlike a GSL Codes in the early phases of this tournament, there is no recourse for the loser. There is no group stage. When you are out of this best-of-5, that's it. Your story ends here.
Yeah, it's an unforgiving tournament, no doubt, and it's so hard to even get into in the first place with so few spots available. So, it's an exciting tournament. Tell your friends, spread the word, and while you're at it, your boats, prepare them.
Yes.
Prepare your boats.
Clean the hull. Get the barnacles off. We're about to hop into this game. It's actually loading up right now. This is the second half of the round of 16 of the Super Tournament bracket. Game 1 of this best of 5, Solar versus SOS. Let's go.
Start. Triumphant Song Gaming, Solar.
That is a great team name. It really grows on me. It does. I'm not even joking. It's really grown on me. You don't think so?
Yeah, Triumphant Song Gaming just rolls off the tongue.
Jin Air
Yeah.
Green Wings,
Well,
SOS.
No, it doesn't, and especially in the beginning when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, they just need to hire someone for
In
the
fairness,
translation.
this show we're doing right now is branded the Super Tournament,
Yeah.
so I can't really say that much.
Like, how do we get above this? We get a super duper tournament?
Yeah, yeah.
The Alaka Trooper tournament.
Yeah. Listen, we had
We gotta ask little
board
kids
of,
to name it.
12 linguistic experts to come together to name this tournament. I mean, you wouldn't believe
I feel like
the number of thesauruses we had to go through to eventually find the best word to get this one.
I feel like we just
down
get
pat.
a room of little kids together and ask them, what should we name a really excellent tournament?
Yeah. And one kid crashing his 2 action figures together said without making eye contact at us, Super Tournament.
That's right.
Yeah. Whoa, there's a pylon here. I wasn't actually
He's
looking.
faking. It's like, hey, come try to stop this. It might be a cannon rush. Yeah, not buying it. Hey, a Zerg and a
sign
Protoss
and a
sign.
Protoss.
Do you guys
And
hate
there's-
each other?
And there's a Terran backpack in between them.
Oh,
That
is
guy-
there?
That guy's not here.
I
No,
didn't
no,
see.
I made that up. But, you know, it was a joke because there's no Terran
I
player.
didn't know
here,
there
so
was
the
a
guy's
Terran
not here.
backpack even. I want that.
I'm sure there's a Terran backpack.
I'm not so sure, actually. There's not very
There's
good
one
apparel
being
for
printed
StarCraft.
right now at the Blizzard merchandise office, Artosis.
I hope
can't talk today. I'm tripping over my words.
You sound completely normal to me. This is what you
Really?
sound like every day, Tasteless. Maybe for the first time you're listening to yourself.
Oh, man. I hope
So-
today it could be as crazy as it was yesterday. We had so much fun. We really had such a wide range of different types of games. And the fact that basically every game was an upset was so crazy.
Yeah, it was cool, but I want to get back to Triumphant Song Gaming for a moment, okay? 'Cause-
Please.
So you know the way that a lot of things are translated, you know, from like Chinese or Korean or something, it's like there's this word that actually doesn't sound silly like Triumphant Song Gaming that means the same type of thing like a triumphant song, like, you know, but it doesn't sound
like
silly.
Anthem Gaming or something like
Something
that.
like
Yeah.
What would you?
Just translated that one better. You're welcome.
That's what I was going to ask
Yeah,
you to do.
yeah.
Actually, is to translate it better.
No, you live out in Korea. Or live
You lose. So Triumphant Song is way Anthem Gaming. I'm like,
if you
what?
live anywhere for long enough where English isn't the main language, you start to realize the complications of translations.
Yeah.
And how it's not simply plugging the right words in, and then you suddenly have the right idea. Yeah, I think that's what's happening here.
Totally. So 2 Lings just got in and are going to kill 1 probe, scout the tech. Oh, he wants out of the probe so badly, Tasteless. He wanted it so badly. That Ling. Some people for Christmas, all they want is their 2 front teeth. That Ling just wanted that probe kill.
He says, take all my teeth, just give me that one probe. So we're going to have Phoenixes coming out now from behind the Oracle tech. And we also have an Overlord. Now, this Overlord's parked pretty far out of where the Natural is. I don't know if the Phoenix is going to comb through that area. But it'd be pretty handy to get that Overlord in there to scout. A lot of times, especially in the next couple of minutes, if you can get a scout into what the Protoss is doing, then you know if there's a rush, what kind of rush it is. If not, then you know he's going to be expanding and playing it safe.
I like this move that Zergs have been doing, where they kind of hide that Overlord on the very edge and hope to get in a bit later. Good Oracle harassment so far. Getting 3 drone kills. Not so bad.
Okay, that Overlord's still hidden down there as this Oracle orbits around. Instead, it looks like the first Phoenix is going to be coming across the map. By the way, it's 1 Phoenix out and then another Oracle coming next, which is not a normal pattern of Stargate production.
No, it's not super normal. Actually, he has 2 Oracles already. He's making a 3rd Oracle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. You're right. Yeah, there's 2 Oracles there, and there's a 3rd one being constructed.
Yeah, I think I
it was
recall
2 Oracles
seeing
first?
this. I recall seeing this build. Like Classic did this, did he not? Where it was specifically on this map as well, if I recall correctly, either against Rogue or Dark. I'm trying to scratch my brain here to get it, but I think he's gonna, like, with the Oracles, you just continue the harassment. Wow, that's
really
rough.
bad considering that was the only Phoenix he got. He's not going to have any air clear here.
And now that Overlord just flies right in, no problem.
Now that Overlord's not going to get to scout that much right now.
Yeah, Stalker got warped in to deal with it. He's taking a third base behind us as this Overlord flies in.
So, at least for now, this is definitely going back to a strategy Classic originally introduced in the GSL finals. I believe he did that against Sue, where he was just right.
Someone did it against Sue.
Was it not Classic? Am I making this up? Was it Zest?
No, it wasn't the Zest Sue finals. Maybe it was Stats versus Sue. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't SOS because SOS didn't win GSL. And
no, I was saying I think Classic did it against. That's what I said. I said Classic introduced it against Sue, I believe, in a finals. But this idea of setting off stasis wards down there and trying to trigger the drones and just sort of blunt all the mining that's going on here. It's a really cost-efficient way. If the traps actually go off and stun enough drones, it's a pretty cost-efficient way to make yourself get ahead with very little legwork.
Yeah, there's not even much micro involved in it. You just kind of set it up, and as long as you're not in the range of a spore, you'll probably be fine.
You know, one of the problems with it is that the other player just has to be fast enough to respond correctly. By the way, we're having a lot more of this nowadays. This is a faked War Prism sent out as a scout. Even though it's not as fast as the Phoenix, I think it's a pretty smart way to approach the game, especially as you're laying these sentry wards down, because you're trying to distract them into following the War Prism. And, you know, this is stunning enough.
No, he's definitely gaining value off of these. There's no question.
You know, from our perspective, guys, the math gets a little bit fuzzy on how much this is slowing the Zerg down, but it is definitely doing something. So, although it is going to be, well, it is already, a third base, I don't know when the push is going to be, but maybe the Zerg is going to be a little bit weaker overall if the attack comes in.
Well, it makes that difference, but you know what's really interesting here is, first off, the build from SOS. It's not the same as what we saw Classic do. That was a very sharp timing that he did with the Mass Oracles. But here, the 3 Oracles harassing, but he went for a third base and a kind of late Twilight that was actually lined up for +2 specifically, and a little bit of a late Robo as well. So he's actually powered like insanely big. So the kind of thing I was saying where I'm like, I don't think he can play the late game. I think he's gonna, you know, do timings. He's already oversaturated on 3 bases. He's got really fantastic upgrades right now, and he's about to be fighting against Mutas. So, I mean, so far I kind of like where he's at.
Okay, once again, oh, really nice. What, like 8 drones stunned there. Beautifully done. Again, with the War Prisms coming out, you know, at some point in time, there's going to be a real War Prism that flies in there, and it might not get the same respect because of all these hallucinated War Prisms that came in before.
Now these Mutas coming out, I can't imagine the Mutas really getting anything done at the moment other than clearing out the Oracles, right? They're going to fly over the, some cannons and shield batteries go up, but shouldn't really take damage from these. Look at that, he even left the Oracles.
By the way, Zerg is going to be attacking pretty soon here. This is a pretty late 4th base here for Zerg. Zerg powered up on a lot of Roaches, a lot of Ravagers. As the Mutas come out, I mean, Phoenix Tech is available, but the Phoenix number is not so much. Looks like a few of these Mutas are going to be chased away here. I don't really see an ideal opening here, though, for Solar to try to attack in anywhere, do you?
No, there's nothing here for him. Like, he made these Mutas. They did less than 0. Like, he's got a lot of Ravagers and an okay amount of Roaches, and that's his army. So I guess we'll see if those can do the job. I'm not sure how much energy the Oracles have, but that would definitely be helpful.
Okay, a couple of Corrosive Biles shot out here. I don't think it's going to be a good idea to try to move down the ramp. I don't know. I mean, I think Solar's in good shape. I'm not sure where he wants to take this game from here. What is Roach Ravager going to going to do this late into the game? You know, there's a lot of open area here to try to run by and dodge Biles.
There's not as many Immortals as you normally have at this point, because it was kind of a different strategy here from SOS, but I still think you should be able to hold on against this, right?
No, I agree. One Archon is actually taken out by that Corrosive Bile.
Oh, or maybe he just is going to
maybe he just runs him over. I think I was completely wrong. I guess, yeah, that Immortal count being that low, Solar just is able to come in and do so much damage. There's no way to get more Immortals out. I think in time, deal with this.
What an interesting game this is.
This was a very unusual timing attack. I guess it makes sense. This is centered around the lack of Robo. I mean, we started this game out with 3 Oracles of Phoenix, an early third base.
The really quick forge, let's not forget, right? That's a big part of it.
When you get that many Oracles out and you're going for cannons, then you don't have both Archons and Immortals. But even then, I guess the Oracles can come back, and Ravagers are not exactly anti-air, especially against Oracles, so it's driven out anyways. But just to go big picture, because that was a very weird attack we saw back there, I guess that idea about it was that you could eventually run over an army that does not have Archons and Immortals due to the investments of the Protoss early on.
Well, that is what occurred, but even so, even the fact that SOS lost like all of his good units in his army and held it off with Warpins and just the 3 Oracles, it really feels to me like if he just gets a second Robo, since he did make a 4th Nexus during all that, like, isn't he still in a good spot?
I think Protoss is in a great spot, to be honest. Granted, Zerg threw away a lot of that Roach Ravager tech. You don't really need that after the 10-minute marker in a game normally. They don't help out that much.
Yeah.
But you know, with SOS, even on bases, what exactly is Solar going to do? Is he going to muster a lot of Roaches and Hydras and try to crash in here again? I guess if you take out especially the Immortals and get that count to 0, as they're remaking that, and they're trying to get that Psionic Storm out with Templars, maybe they don't quite have enough.
Yeah,
I don't know, though.
That could be what he's going for here. You know, he's going to do like a lurker push. He doesn't know about the 4th. He's about to find out as these Lings run up there, and that should make him very, very sad, I think. But the game feels very weird. Like the Spire that didn't do anything, and then the Roach Ravager that cleared the army, but at the end of the day, like, he was fine losing that army, I would say, because it didn't even have that many valuable units in it. Very strange. But this base looks to me like it's definitely going to die. Warping in the main base, though.
Now, keep in mind, when you have Lurkers, just like Broodlords or Carriers or any of these other expensive units, a lot of times you don't have very much back at home. So these Zealots may end up doing a lot of damage if they can be targeted correctly. The Nexus goes down. And you're going to need a lot more Immortals to try to drive through that. And I think very intelligently, Solar's going to pick up and try to run out of here.
Huh. All right, so something going on. Not really sure exactly what that is, but we shall see. Must be some sort of problem with Solar's PC at the moment.
I don't know if I'm going to have time to get my blazer on, so I'm going to wear it like
I'm going to wear it like a blanket. Looks good like that, Tasteless. It's like one of those.
I had a joke I was going to do, but production's like, put your blazer on. So here we go.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what happened back there. It was at a very important moment. Oh, I was informed there's some problem with Solar's hotkeys. And I think we're going to go.
Yeah, it's just going to start up again anyways.
Ooh.
More and more Zealots being made here.
So, the Zealots are going to come back down now. And just to kind of put clear where we were from before, the Protoss' 4th base was killed. He's re-expanding somewhere in the middle now. And it's still Zerg on 4 bases with a very, very scary army. We have a lot of Lurkers that are eventually going to have to be confronted by the Protoss. And, you know, again, with these Zealots specifically, you just can't run into Lurker Spines.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting? I just saw Plasma Shields were being researched. I guess he is going for quite a few Archons, so it makes more sense than the armor in that way. Look at this. I mean, he's just kind of roaming around right now. He has enough Oracles that the Lurkers don't really, you know, cloak when they go underground. But you can't fight them heads up.
Okay. He's going to try to drive this away now. The Immortal number is high enough you can start to pick off some of these Lurkers if you get them at the right angle. Protoss is now going to have to play a zoning game where you try to make sure the army can't advance, and that's why we see him running around hitting these creep tumors. This forces the lurkers to relocate. By the way, we have more and more and more lurkers on the way here.
Yeah.
A second wave of zealots is inside the main to try to draw back some of this army. You know, it would really help if he got some of this tech destroyed.
You know, this is exactly what you should be doing against lurkers anyways, right? Because lurkers really need the rest of the army there with them, so you can't just leave like one set of this alone, right? They back up, get into a defensive spot, all these units come up. This is where SOS should be hitting another base.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, especially that one of these lower bases, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. Now he can clean up some of the Zerg army that's over here. And I think that, once again, SOS should probably try to come in with that Warp Prism, do another Warp in.
Yeah.
Did he lose the Warp Prism?
No, I think he has it in the top left.
Oh,
Pretty
you're right.
Sure.
I think it's exactly in the very, very top left corner.
Solar did a nice little counter to the 4th base that he's retaking, which is going to be his 5th now. So I guess that's why we didn't see SOS hit. But, like, this, theoretically and, like, strategically, this is exactly what you're supposed to do against lurker play like this. You get your Prism in somewhere, you do harassment, make him split up, move around, hit other areas.
Yeah. 2 storms and an immortal shot kill a lurker, so you can see he can kind of blanket some of these areas and then poke in real fast here. Again, right now it's Zerg on 4 bases and Protoss is going up to 5. Now the math changes a little bit when you're going for either Broodlords or lurkers, so it's not always like the Zerg at this phase of the game has to be ahead. But the longer the Protoss has more bases, the more problematic it's going to get, the more disadvantageous it's going to be. It's hard to both defend all your locations with lurkers and cover new ground here, so there's already some fundamental issues that Solar's going to have to try to wrestle with here.
That's very tough indeed. Like, how do you get another base? The lurkers can't just be left alone. Every time we see him warping more units to that main base, it's really doing well for him. SOS is continuing to tech up, getting towards those Tempests, getting Blink as well.
And I think Tempest is the way to go. I think from there he can actually just stay out of earshot from these bases what the Zerg has and slowly chip away. I think the last step that SOS really needs to take is to make an insane amount of cannons at these bases to be safe against counterattacks.
Well, we'll see if he does that. Does add some cannons here at the new 5th base. Solar looked like he wanted to counter. Yeah, Solar feels a little bit stunted right now. You know, he doesn't really have that big of an army. I know that you can look at the army supply and say it's about the same as SOS, but a lot of it's roaches. Yeah, he's got these lurkers, but the way that SOS is playing this, like roaming the map, he's showing like a very, very good late game, which I guess I'm just wrong on that assessment. Generally, I don't like his late game in PVZ, but he's playing it fantastically here. You know, just moving around, getting those warp-ins in.
Okay, another storm comes down. And we're going to see now this army hit this location here. This is what I was worried about. The lurkers are a little bit too bunched up. And even on 4 bases, it seems like Solar is stretched to try to defend all these locations. Look, I think this game is almost over.
Yeah.
I don't see any way that Zerg is going to be able to wipe out this army and all these bases.
Well, I think Solar won't leave the game as of yet because he still has a big army. But
this is where the Protoss gets to be the Zerg Artosis.
He's
Protoss
everywhere.
hitting all these different locations at once.
Oh
a few good storms with immortal attacks over at that lurker clump, and I think this game is done. But look at this. SOS is so smart. He backs up. He says, okay,
3
I'm
bases to
already
5.
eons ahead of the Zerg. He's got a mothership coming out now. This is tough for Solar, you know, at the start of best of 5 in a game like this.
Yeah.
Ouch.
What impressive play here, I got to say. I'm really impressed by SOS and just like the way he's handled himself here. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, loses that mothership very, very quickly and is going to lose that 4th base.
Okay. On some level, I think SOS is very okay with losing these bases because he can just keep pushing up here. This is really from the Zerg an exercise in futility.
Well, if he kills all the bases, yeah, that could be good, but it looks like SOS sending some army home now. Yeah, that should be enough to clean it up. I think we're going to see GG.
SOS takes game 1. Wonky start, clean finish. You know, I think Solar had an idea of trying to push these locations with SOS, but SOS knew exactly what to do when he saw those lurkers come out. He said, okay, it's time for me to move on the map. Let's make these lurkers defend. Let's have them rotate around and cover these 4 bases. Meanwhile, I'm going to double expand, which normally as a Protoss player is kind of crazy. You're not supposed to be able to do it, but you can against lurkers. Lurkers can't run around. They're not that mobile. They're like little Zerg siege tanks you got to run out. And
yeah, they definitely are not mobile. And that's why that's how you counter them, right? Like, they're such a good siege unit, you can't fight them heads on. And SOS never intended to do that. Ran around with war prisms and stuff and roamed the map and made it very difficult for Solar to hold on. Like, I think the Lurker is a very good unit, but it's very hard to use effectively in situations like that.
So we're going to go to map number 2. SOS, a bit of an unusual opening. Solar trying to go the reactive route. I'm not surprised to see Solar go for Lurkers. That seems very Solar-esque in general. But yeah, SOS showed that in a positional game, he's just a little bit better. Actually, he's a lot a bit better.
Well, his army is kind of tailor-made for those types of movements. The Lurker army is not. I mean, I wouldn't mind to see more Lurkers from Solar, but maybe not in that situation.
Game 2's up and ready to go. This is Solar versus SOS as we continue this best of 5.
Start. Triumphant Song Gaming, Solar.
I gotta say, it's really cool to have seen a nice, strong late game PBZ from SOS there. I feel like it's been a couple years since we've seen that.
Jin Air Green Wings, SOS.
It was almost like a dark time of PBZ for him somewhat recently, where it's like every game's a timing attack, you know?
Right.
Kind of like how we saw Hurricane playing against Rogue. Is like, those are my memories of SOS as of, you know, recently. But that was very strong. Like the quick forge, you got really quick +2. The immortal count was a little bit low, which made it, you know, scrappy, a little bit scary.
Speaking of quick forge.
Oh my God, a forge.
Quick forge. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Partying's going to watch, see how it's done. How is SOS going to do this differently from Partying? The 2 best cannon rushers in the East.
There you go.
Now remember that he faked the cannon rush in game 1. This is SOS playing a best of 5 here.
This is so funny.
And so, you know,
he primed Solar to not react to this.
This was just a mini game. The whole pylon fake there was a setup for game 2. So he's like,
funny.
yeah, you jerk. I know you're not going to do anything.
And now it's going to finish.
Da-da-da!
This is
Solar's
so funny.
eyebrows just raised as that when the cannons go down.
Well, you got to cancel that hatch, right?
Well, he might wait until the last second. So the next drone comes down here to make a hatchery at the 3rd base. But the probe is going to head down here and confirm that.
Well, I don't think that you can cannon rush that base. Sometimes
I don't
you'll try that, but
usually, unless your cannons are going to finish where it covers the ramp, you probably can't do that.
Exactly.
You know.
And
now,
very few maps have
we
it
saw
set like
Haas
that.
and Valencia go for the Robo in this location, but I don't think that's what we have planned out here for SOS. He doesn't seem to actually want to invest too heavily in trying to control this. Instead, he's going to play, he's going to try to cut corners here economically and then get an expansion up. And this is, I mean, neither one is inherently better than the other. They're just 2 different approaches to try to get ahead. You know, one goes for kind of a chokehold where you're going to kill them off pretty quickly here. The other one is you try to outgrow them.
Yeah, and if you're doing the Immortal one, I mean, you got to get that going so quickly. In situations like this where you make the forge on the low ground, you generally have to go Stargate with it, just because otherwise, like, if they just made Ravagers and sent them at your base, cannons don't stop Ravagers. They just don't.
Speaking
so
of
you can kill everything.
Speaking of Stargate, there's a proxied pylon. Is he going to make a Stargate proxied and then not be able to defend with a Void Ray?
Well, that is
or an Oracle.
Something that I think is quite likely here. Like, he might be getting damage done to Solar while Solar possibly starts destroying his wall. Right in front of that cannon.
Stargate coming.
So he's making a Stalker and getting a shield battery. So, you know, the Stalker with a shield battery and a cannon backup, you can kind of micro against those Ravagers for a while. It'll take a while for them to really break through, but if you were to commit heavily to those, you know, this would be a lot harder for SOS to hold, especially with the Stargate across the map. I wonder if he'll actually get spores, because it's like, it's very obvious that Stargate is the tech generally in situations like this.
Yeah. It's actually always been like that too in even in StarCraft 1 is you want to get that Stargate post-cannon rush normally. Because you've gotten the lead, now you want to be able to harass and also just see what they're doing. If they're doing something really weird, then you can scramble and try to defend against it. But you're not playing in the dark, to say the least.
Yeah, for tier 1 and tier 1.5 Zerg units, flying units are great on defending that.
Sure.
It's Queens can't get across the map that quickly that early on, so an Oracle or a Void Ray is going to be fantastic in that situation. Now, he didn't actually send them all the way over, and there's no Spore here. It looks like he was going to make a Spore, and it looked somewhat timed out. If there was an Oracle from the main base, it would be just about done when it gets there.
Man. 5 kills, too.
Yeah. So that proxy, just the fact that he proxied it, got a ton of damage for him.
Second Oracle is almost out. I love this. Just sending these Stalkers out here. If he can even get a kill on an Overlord, that would be huge. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Somehow that recall felt like it took twice as long as all of the recalls we've seen here.
So Forge and Twilight on the way. No Robo or anything yet here for SOS. This is kind of interesting. 2 games in a row where we see SOS, with obviously completely different builds, but not getting a Robo at more normal times. That's like kind of the cheap tech building against Zerg right now. And most of the meta is people want to get into Immortals right away.
And again, the same idea as Game 1, where it's a quick Nexus on the 3rd. You're kind of not supposed to be able to get away with this, but I think this is just another moment where SOS is highlighting how to play around the meta. And let's see what happens. I mean, last time it almost looked like Solar was going to run over SOS with just Roach Ravager, and then, the Oracles came in and saved the day, and from there it was Solar with inferior lurker tech, keeping him in Zerg arrested development where he wasn't able to expand more or do much more damage. And SOS closed it out.
What an interesting game this is. Now see that secondary Forge in the back so he could hide what was going on for a bit. It's actually Blink and +1, so a very kind of old, strange strategy to be seeing here out of SOS. What? I just love watching SOS play. Just so different from everyone else. I even like all his defensive cannons. You don't see that as much nowadays.
Yeah, he's such an interesting player. He really views the game in a completely different way. There's only one SOS in the whole world, Artosis.
That is for sure.
No one else is a carbon copy of this guy, even.
Unless we find out he has an identical twin.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
And his name is B.O.B. B.O.B., yeah.
What race does he play?
Night Elf.
Plays the wrong game.
Oh my god, he didn't get that one last circle. Okay, the Forges are finished, their upgrades. We're gonna have a lot of Stalkers with Blink here. Let's see if we can try to push out and do some damage.
We're gonna do a Heart of the Swarm push. This is kind of exciting. Gonna push forward with a bunch of +1 Blink Stalkers and Sentries. Something we really, really don't see anymore. There was a rise of Hydras, but people are playing very Roach heavy now, so maybe this build can just straight up work again.
Yeah, with an off-brand unit composition. I'm worried, though. Ravagers are going to make these force fields obsolete, right?
Mostly.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing he can do, right? So.
Yeah, that really didn't go well. So he's sitting here making a bunch of Blink Stalkers, and he lost a few Sentries. I mean, he has 2 Forges going, so that's good, but he's just starting his first Immortal now. I'm a bit nervous, to say the least.
Well, this is the same idea, only the circumstances are much worse than Game 1. This time around, he only has 1 Oracle to fight off some of these Roach Ravagers, and we see with Queens headed over here, he's intended on trying to smash his base with an anachronistic unit composition. I don't know how Stalkers and Sentries are going to hold this.
Well, you got to hold it at the ramps, I think. Good Blink Micro. You made a couple shield batteries, hit those force fields as well. Sure, Corrosive Bile can end it, but you get some damage done at least.
I just don't think there's enough room.
Well, he's fighting half the army at the moment. Oh, throw those force fields down. Okay, he actually lets a little bit more than I think he meant to right there.
Okay, once again, force field's coming down now. The first Immortal comes out. And look, he's going to try to target down the Immortal, but this Immortal can shimmy over here closer to the Nexus. It's not being microed anymore. It goes down.
Uh-oh.
Now, I don't even know with Perfect Blink Micro if he could hang on here.
His Stalkers on both sides. The Ravagers do get squishy once you get rid of the Roaches. He does have this cannon firing as well. I think SOS does hold this. But, oh god. Unless he's sitting there just eating vials, that's not going to help. Yeah, maybe he just dies.
I think the Queen is out of transfuses, unless I'm mistaken here. And he's going to try to warp it a little bit more. He takes that cannon out. From here, instead of making links, Zerg's going to try to back this up with just Roaches. And you know, we're getting one Immortal at a time, and I think this Immortal is really hard-pressed to do enough damage to save the day here.
Yeah, well, the Stalkers have 2-1. He's like trying to micro them here. I feel like he mismicroed a little bit earlier on. But over time, he might be able to just barely hold on. Just how much damage is going to take at this third?
No, I think he's dead, man. I think
felt
there's
that
no
way
way.
for a while.
Yeah. Well, he's going to lose this expansion, and then he's going to get smushed into his main here. The Zealots are going to go down pretty quickly here. The second Immortal, I think, is out and moving across here, but I might be wrong. Yeah, there it is.
You're right. Oh, only he had a Prism to juggle this. Oh, he gets back into the shield battery range.
He's not microing that Immortal out. Needs another shot there.
Yeah, but with 2 Immortals and Charge Lots coming in, can he push it back all the way?
Are you serious?
He's
Is this
still
going to
got healthy
happen?
probes. He doesn't have the shield batteries or anything to juggle those. So okay, finally a Prism comes back.
Okay, well, if he can keep microing this, man, you can really abuse Roaches with that Warp Prism. Good pickups here.
Yeah, you can kill a hell of a lot of them.
Oh!
Oh, he loses one. I feel like his micro's just a little bit off today.
Oh, he doesn't quite get that. Oh, he does get the pylon at the last possible second, so that's going to stagger a Warp in here.
Yeah.
I think
really
that other Immortal also ate a shot there.
And now he's losing all of his probes at that base. He's going to lose the third base as well. He had held that with all the probes, and this could have been a comeback.
Yeah, he loses this, and I think it's going to snowball from here. It is insane what 2 Immortals can do, though, you know?
Oh, yeah. Roaches do not beat 2 Immortals in prison.
GG.
Yeah, that was... I feel like just the execution was a little bit off by SOS.
It's funny, because it looks like it's not going to hold it, and then as time passes, you say, wait a minute.
It's hard to kill people with Roaches nowadays.
It seems like it's kind of working. Anyway, Solar wins there. I don't know if SOS is going to stick with that unorthodox navigation into the third base. Basically, guys, he's skipping Robo early on, going for Stargate. That time it was Proxy, the other time it was not. But he's getting cannons and a third base up, and then he gets his Robotech out later. And it seems like it's almost a coin flip in some cases, whether or not he can hold off a Roche Ravager attack. But if he does, he's in good shape. And I think there was a chance he could have done that had we reloaded from replay and he made a few decisions differently. Maybe we'd have a different game.
Yeah.
Anyways, for now, it's tied up 1-1.
Right, really anyone's match at the moment. New Repugnancy, our next map. Good Cannon Rush map. Wouldn't mind to see that. He should build that pylon in natural every game.
I think so.
That's SOS stuff right there. Really mess with him.
Yeah, that's a good point. I almost forgot to mention we did have a Cannon Rush at the start of that game.
Yeah. And
but
a fake
Solar,
one at the start of game 1.
Yeah. Our game has now loaded up. This is game 3, Solar versus SOS.
Game start. Triumphant Song Gaming, Solar.
All right.
He's just getting warmed
Solar,
up.
Solar looked like he was trying to.
SOS.
Solar looked like he was trying to get his horse to move. He's like, giddy up. Okay, does he do it again?
Pylon.
Please.
Make the pylon. No.
Oh, no fun. I like games where they only make buildings Artosis.
Yeah. I like it when buildings kill people. The most fun is actually when Zerg buildings kill people. Like Proxy Hatch with spines.
Yes.
I love that stuff. Remember that one Nest T did, that legendary one?
against the fast expanding Protoss. Yeah.
So
And we were saying, oh, this is a mistake. Sometimes this happens. They had the drones coming out, and then he made that. We were like, ho, ho, ho.
So sick. Fools who were to doubt an ST.
I know. A couple of plebs.
It's crazy that he's... The thing is, I feel like the world's going to end soon. Okay?
Yeah.
Because at this point, the dreams of Nesty are getting so unreal. All right, Serral, Maru, are you kidding me? He's going to realize, like, wait a minute. How long have I been sleeping? I better just wake up. Then we're all just going to cease to exist.
That's right.
It's unfortunate.
All of our memories, all of our experiences.
He's getting a little bit too crazy with it.
Yeah.
Dreams are just too unreal. Serral and Maru are like the lady in the red dress, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yeah. Simulation.
I really want to see what kind of tech we're going to have here from SOS. He's really been going for this no robo play this time around, but you have to imagine he's, well, hold on, Twilight Council here.
Well, it's
still can get a robo later on.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know exactly what this will be yet. It's probably for Glaives. It'd be really surprising if it was anything else. You know, if you go like charge, you need a prism with that.
Right.
But with Glaives, you can move across the map actually pretty quickly with the depth, so you can just do it. But we might see a robo as well. Well, I guess either way, you could still see a robo, no matter what it is. It's because that is really quite early. But yeah, there's the Glaives. There's that dog that's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Just chilling on your pregnancy.
Okay, Stalker's chasing us away. And I think this is a cool transition build-wise here from SOS. He's just, you know, going to do something very different. We've stated this several times, but historically, SOS has been the best in best of fives, best of sevens.
Yeah. Mixing up your play is so important.
Yeah.
And everything has been drastically different so far. You just keep trying to grind the same build against your opponent. I mean, at this level, they're going to be able to figure you out. What do they call it in fighting games? Download them, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're, you know.
It's like, you know, the first couple games, they might throw you off and beat you, and then you're like, oh, I've got it. I figured it out. Okay.
No, I see your tricks.
Yeah,
you know?
I see what you're doing. Let me just make the adjustments, and suddenly I never lose to you again.
Okay. So, the Roach Warren is on the way right now. That Glaives upgrade going to be finishing pretty quickly. He did throw down a Forge underneath the Overlord. Might be trying to... I mean, maybe he wants a Forge. Maybe he's trying to sell that this is not going to be an attack. It's only 3 gates, so it's not like this is all in or anything. You don't even necessarily have to go Roaches against this, I don't think. Obviously, they are going to be able to defend it a little bit easier.
Okay.
Yeah, he cancels the Forge once the Overlord dies. So
Very
tricky.
SOS, yeah, very smart. And
so
from here, we got to see how ready he's going to be for these Adepts to come in.
Yeah, this is interesting because behind this, he's just making Sentries and Immortals and getting more gates, right? So this little group of Adepts, he's like just forcing a lot of units out of Solar here.
Yeah, it's not a full committal of Adepts here.
It's kind of funny when you think
oh
of
my
it,
God!
Because
this guy's going to go back and tell the story of those Adepts.
Solar,
the things I've seen.
Solar should be looking at this and, you know, thinking, well, do I drone up some more now? And we do see a few drones being added on. Because that was not like a huge commitment.
Now, as that was going on, we had 5 gateways finishing there.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what the next wave is going to look like. I think he lost too many Adepts, though, in that shade out.
It was not good to lose that many Adepts.
Well,
we can agree on that.
Yeah. Well, now the War Prism's out. That's usually when we know that there's actually going to be more to enforce the next attack. You know, Sentries, Immortals coming across the map now.
Seeing those spines go down, I generally, like in the past, I've always liked people who add spines during these attacks, but, you know, what are humans but soft robots that recognize patterns? Any time people make spines, I feel like they don't hold.
I guess it's looked like that before. This is a hard area to get through, though, Artosis. Even though it's a small number of Ravagers, there's enough spacing you could have with the Corrosive Bile. Same with this ramp as well, where if Protoss tries to fully push up this area, you're going to eat a lot of damage. Again, we want to watch that Warp Prism. If the Zerg can get 3 Corrosive Biles on that Warp Prism, it's going to get knocked out of the sky.
Well, he did back it up in time that time, but the Biles taking down those force fields. He is relocating one of these spine crawlers to help out as well. The force fields are all going to be gone now. There's just not a lot of energy left on these sentries. Most of them have died as well. It seems like this push is just failing.
Yeah, I don't see him getting up here. Even these force fields that were remaining here are not doing quite enough. Now, the Zealots are going to come forward, but we have 2 spines set up over here. Transfuses as well on those spines, making this basically useless. And now the War Prism is forced to back up. And this is overall just a failed attack with abysmal supply here, 120 to 60.
What a weird game this one
That was terrible.
The Glaives that didn't do anything into the push that was just kind of weak, and held almost instantaneously by Solar.
I don't know if he should have done that move with the Adepts. I think he lost so much, it didn't matter what the follow-up was. He just gave away, like, what was it, 6 Adepts, 7 Adepts?
He lost 5 Adepts and almost a 6th.
Yeah.
It was weird, and it's especially weird to me that so far these timing attacks are failing, but he won the macro game. I don't know what to make of this. This is like the reverse of what I'm familiar with SOS.
He's got to go back to always making a pylon at that hatchery Artosis. That's the only way.
Right now, Solar on that match point to move forward here. Actually, when I think about it, yeah, all the Zergs have been getting eliminated so far.
That's right.
We only have 2 Zergs left, Sue and Solar.
Listen, a 2-race only tournament is not enough. I want to have just Protosses, okay?
That would be amazing.
Yes.
Actually, we could have been very close to that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still possible.
Players who struggle in PvP all over the world are just like, yes! Finally! Finally, I've got some stuff to teach me this matchup. We're going to game 4, boys and girls. It's going to be on Kairos Junction. Right now, Solar up with a 2-1 lead. SOS's craziness so far has not been enough.
Game start. Triumphant Song Gaming, Solar.
I wonder when their team walks on stage in China if it plays a Triumphant Song.
Jin Air Green Wings, SOS.
That's where they get the nerd war conch out. Nerds start coming out from all over.
Yeah, look how early that hatch was. He's not taking the pylon block. Thank you very much. So, now we wait, see what SOS is up to this game. See if he's going to put up a bit more of a fight. Kind of a, I don't know, this series to start off is kind of weird. The thing is, SOS, we talk about this a lot, where a lot of times he looks like a genius, and then sometimes he really falls flat in his face, which is why I think a lot of people underestimate him. And the thing is, I think you can, like, I feel like he's favored against everyone that's not Zerg, and then, like, with Zerg, it's almost just a bunch of coin flips or something with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it seems like, at least from what we've seen so far, he's been tinkering with some crazy ideas with PvZ involving off-brand timing attacks with unit compositions that you just don't, at least you don't see in the last 2 or 3 years, right? You don't see in Legacy of the Void. And I guess he's had some success, but it hasn't worked enough against Solar. The game that he won was the one that was actually the late game, and I think some of that loss we can also chalk up to Solar's decision to double down on lurkers, which made him stuck on 4 bases instead of getting the growth rate that Zerg needs to have any longevity in a later game.
It's just a weird game in general due to the Mewtwo's that didn't do anything as well. It's such a big commitment. You know, you're spending like 800 gas.
Yeah.
That does, what, it forces a few cannons and like 3 Phoenixes that then do things for the Protoss?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very good. All right, a Twilight coming up here once again. Let's see if it's going for a similar build.
Okay. Well, at least comparing this game to the last few games that we've seen so far, at least some of the same ideas here. We had a quick Twilight Council. There is a Robo coming here. This time around, the Lynx come into Scout. Now, although as a general, scouting is almost always helpful in StarCraft, I feel like SOS is one of the players where even if he gets scouted unintentionally, like he had no plans to let anything in to see him, he's very good at juggling a few different ideas in front of his opponent and then going on a different course.
Yeah.
So, compared to other Protoss players we get to cast, I always want to be a little bit careful with saying, oh, we got scouted, this means the other guy is going to know what to do.
Everyone's aware that SOS could switch it up and do just about anything. This game, it's like a Archon drop coming up, the DT variety. Generally what you see with this is a third base will be taken. It could be one Prism or two, but normally it goes into just lots of aggression after that, but we did see something a little bit different yesterday from Hurricane, actually going into a bit of a bigger macro game with it.
Yeah.
And then somehow rolling through Rogue's maxed out army with like 160 supply or something. It was really an interesting usage of this opener.
This Super Tournament overall has had a lot of Protosses doing very novel pushes and timing attacks against Zergs. So far, I think Hurricanes were actually a little bit better.
Oh, for sure.
I'm curious to see if he's the source material for those builds or not. But, yeah, I mean, he looked really good. Going into this game here, I don't know what to expect. We have 3 DTs coming out here. Now, there's no... Now, here's what's weird. Solar did scout this.
All right, well, I guess he's not going to get the hatch. He's not really targeting it.
But he's going to send 1 DT north.
It's so funny to watch the DTs just turn on everything.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things where if you have a high enough number of DTs, they can just suddenly turn and kill a lot of stuff really fast. So he's going to hide that 1 DT there. I don't think the Overseer is in range. Okay, yes, he is. He's going to turn that. See that now.
He was watching. Kind of a clever move there by SOS, but gets caught.
It's one of the smarter moves you can do when there's a lot of chaos going on in a game. You can send a few DTs out and then just have them hold position somewhere obscure and see if anything sticks.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you stay quiet with that DT and the game, the player assumes in the chaos that the DT was killed off, you can then go back, especially at a little bit later on, start killing stuff, and sometimes the player doesn't even notice for a little bit.
It's kind of like the Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail where he throws the sand to find the invisible bridge. That's basically what that is.
You know what it is?
What?
It's Jurassic Park where if you don't move, they can't see you.
That too.
That's always think of it as the dumb Zerg player just can't see my DTs as I'm not moving.
Yeah, I like that a lot. With his little tiny T-Rex arms.
And then what I do is I get my torch out and I wave it in front of the Zerg's face. And then I throw it into the league below me, and he follows it down there.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Oh, my God. Look, sorry, Tasers. There's no league below bronze.
4 more gateways are coming out now, and the Immortals are going to come out.
Oh, my God.
Third base coming up. Now, remember, this was... although this wasn't a late Robo like some of our other games, it was a Warp Prism right away. So Mortals are going to be in lower numbers while the Zerg still mustered a lot of Roaches.
Lot of Roaches.
Say it with me. Lot of Roaches. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah,
That's a wrap. Moving on.
Nailed it. But, you know, SOS right now, he has that third base. What are you doing as Solar? He's getting Zergling speed at the moment. I'm not sure what his actual overall plan is. It seems to me like it's just going to be a mass Roach Ravager attack with some Lings coming as well. But look at this. SOS started his second Robo. As long as he does not lose the Prism, I think he's like, I don't know, when you're flying around this much and you are just seeing more and more Roaches pop out of eggs, I think you know how to stop that.
How about that one moment where he's like, I just want to see if there's only 1 queen over here. He's taking damage to the purpose. He's like, yep, there is. All right, I'm just going to fly back now. If there were 2, I would have lost it, but in this case, there's just 1. Just wanted to make sure.
Look at that, targeting the Overseer. Of course, DTs can really wreck this rush if they don't have an Overseer with it, but he's about to have a third Immortal. I think you bring the Prism home. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he doesn't even know, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? There's so many Roaches out now.
Yeah, he has a ton of Roaches. Well, he's adding a lot of shield batteries at the moment. 3 Immortals are out. There's 2 Robos, so he should be getting up to 5 relatively soon here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you end up holding this, especially if he gets a Prism over here.
So these Immortals are not... The Immortals' legs are broken back there. Okay, well, I don't think you can lose that many Immortals. Some of them are on the high ground now, but I think this lower base here is going to get swamped.
Well, he has 4 Immortals at the moment, so I think that SOS just kind of kills all this. As long as he micros, which I feel like he's not really microing all that much.
You're not wrong, yeah.
I've seen a lot of Biles connect with his units. He has a War Prism. I'm
Is
pretty
there
sure
any better team than a Immortal and a Shield Battery?
No. An Immortal and a Shield Battery could beat Jin Air Green Wings.
I think you're pretty much right. Look at this.
Yeah, Immortals are good against this.
Is he going to push him all the way back home?
He's going to go kill everything at home, too.
GG. Let's go to another game where there's a Roach attack that looks like it's going to end it, and then Immortals win. What do you say?
Well, that sounds like so many games.
Where do I sign up for that?
I feel like I'm missing something. I must be missing something. Why is Solar just sitting around making roaches forever, for 100 years?
I guess he's...
For 150 years of roaches. And the thing is, you're scouting it the whole time. If you're flying a Prism over the Roach Ball and it just keeps getting bigger and you're looking at the eggs and roaches are popping out of them, and you keep flying around and there's no Hydra Den, there's no Spire, there's just roaches popping out of eggs, you're probably going to make more shield batteries, you're probably going to make more Immortals. You're probably not going to die to roaches.
Why
right?
is this music so scary? Is something bad about to happen to us? Seriously. It's like SOS made a deal with Satan himself. My soul for the Super Tournament trophy.
Are you kidding me? Satan made a deal with SOS for some build orders.
Okay.
Made it right into GM.
We are going to go to the last game with Solar and SOS. One of these two players is going to move on in the round of 8 in the GSL Super Tournament. Is it going to be another Roach Ravager rush, barely held off, or not barely held off in the late mid-game? Let's go and find out. Let's go
and find out.
And find out.
Triumphant Song Gaming, Solar. Jin Air Green Wings, SOS.
Forge. It worked!
Yeah.
It worked!
Jesus, you're so powerful.
I did it!
You're so
oh my
powerful.
God, this is the start of a really bad movie.
And then I realized my power was to make the programmers do my awful build orders.
My God.
Starring Jim Carrey. Well, let's just do it. Oh, look at it. Solar's drinking some... Oh, you guys can't see, but Solar's drinking water.
Oh, wow. He's drinking water like a human?
Yeah, look at that
He thinks
guy.
everything's
He's
fine.
like, oh, my mouth is dry. I'm like, you better get ready for those cannons, man.
You build it right next to it? Yep.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love how it's like a statement of a pylon.
Thing is, if it was any other player, I'd be like, this is a fake. But if it's SOS, I'm like, oh, of course he's going to cannon rush in the last game.
Oh, I like that patrol.
Yeah, he's like, not here or there or there or here. He's like, I don't care.
That drone is really screwing him up.
Does he want to make it behind there then, right? Yeah. See, it's working. I'm still doing it, Artosis.
Oh my gosh, Jesus.
All
You,
right.
like, name the place the probe is going to.
Yeah. Oh my God. Look at Solar attacking this with those drones. He's like, I have spent 8 years mastering this game, and this is what I have to put up with. You know?
I like that.
Oh! Oh! That's my play-by-play for now.
Oh my God. I am actually watching
So he
this
holds
drone
this,
stand
right?
and fight.
We're not gonna take it.
Oh, he screwed up there.
No!
He had so many Jones
We're
not
not
attacking
gonna
this cannon.
take it.
Oh, this is
We're not
just...
gonna
You know, if you
take
covered up
it
these name tags,
anymore.
I would be like, I thought Huck worked in the Overwatch League now.
All right, justice is served. There is a God after all. The Cannon Rush has won.
I don't know.
SOS, deservedly so, moves on.
Yeah. I hope we have Party versus SOS in the finals. I think that's the only way that this tournament's going to be
The moral
truly
of the
happy.
story is that guys, buildings don't cost supply.
That's the moral
Put it
of
on
the story.
his SOS's tombstone. Look at Solar. He's like, yeah, sick. Really? I guess you're better than me. Yeah. God. He's over here.
Well-
He's like complaining to Deer. Deer's like, I don't know. I got to get ready for my game, man. SOS. I'm a sociopath and I don't feel bad about what I did.
I like how you assume that you must be a sociopath to not feel bad
But
about winning the video game you're a
importantly,
professional at.
we've discovered that I have the ability to make the pro gamers
that's
do
true.
the builds I want. And on that note, we're going to go to a break. A PvP coming up next, Deer versus Zest.
I'm coming down the shadows of my soul. Can you tell the difference of my tone? The people I used to know, the love that I used to. All I've gone to somewhere distant from home. Maybe I've been saved, although I'm alone. Together with my heart, I'm singing all my blues away. The colors fade to black. The art inside of me, the canvas within, the darkness subsides. I see the light for the first time. I'm yours forevermore and more.
ことを思い出すと自然と楽しくなる。
太っちゃったらどうしよう。でも手が止まらない。冒険の準備準備。忘れ物はなし。ここで特訓していい？物は壊さないように気をつけるね。幽霊の正体見た。見えたのよ。ようこそ。こちらでは BGM の変更ができますよ。どんな曲に変更しますか？私も楽しみです。BGM の変更。
少しうとうとしてしまった。
いつも一緒にいてくれてありがとね。ふわりと舞う花の顔はんなりとまといましょう。なんくるないさ踊ればいいさ。何か面白そうなものないですかね。手つないでほな行こか。めんそれみんなでそれゆるりのんびりちんとしょう。夢乙女林聞こえるかな。テールピースフルト。今日も明日も笑顔と平和そうと守れたらハッピーデイ愛情
That you know, he just has inferior tech right now.
It's maybe possible to go up and harass a little bit or something, but yeah, there doesn't seem to be a window. And this is going to be a map where it's hard to truly deny the third for long because it's up a ramp and it's not open ground. If it's open ground, the Twilight Tech can slow down a third base of an Immortal player reasonably well, but in this situation, I just feel like we're watching an army that scales well against an army that does not scale well.
That sound effect of the Stalker dying. We're getting a lot of that in our headsets today. And the War Prism's out, moving up here on the map towards the top left. We have a Depths once again coming in here. I think Deer is doing a really good job of just trying to keep the worker count pinned out. Now we've got Zest coming in here trying to fire down some of these probes.
Yeah, decent harassment there.
What?
Oh, oh okay. That makes sense. Like, you're stuck, though? Oh, yeah, recall exists. So the third base is coming up now for Zest.
We do have the Templar archive coming here for Deer. Now, Deer could have gotten a third base of his own, but it looks like instead he might want to actually try to just come in with an attack in a little bit.
You know, in my opinion, the right play here for Deer is to make partial building walls and... Oh, that's cute. I like that. Stopping future harassment. But make some partial building walls and just take your third, because your composition is going to scale better. You know, you're 3 Immortals up right now. Attacking, I don't think is any good, but you should be able to defend everything your opponent throws at you. If you're in good spots with good buildings, it's hard for Twilight Tech to attack into buildings, you know? It's kind of like, think about Ultras trying to attack a base. They always get clogged up. Archons do the same, Zealots do the same.
Yeah, it's one of these things where melee attacks or attacks with not a lot of range, that's when you can really be abused by structural setups at entrances, whereas when you got a lot of ranged units, sometimes their kind of defensive wall, the barriers they have set up can work against them.
That was super cute. dropping the Stalkers off to get that damage. That's really cool.
Well, we still don't have the third base made by Deer just yet.
He's not getting +2 either.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's
So,
a little bit painful.
I really wasn't expecting Deer to take the game in this direction, but it appears he is going to push southbound now with a Warp Prism coming out at the last possible second to reinforce. Now Zest, although he's had some pretty decent wall-ins over at his natural, his third is actually pretty wide open and vulnerable.
Yeah. He is making a couple shield batteries, which should help out quite a bit. Lots of Archons being made as well. The Immortals are really the entire backbone of this attack. He does not have charge yet as well, which is actually an issue. That is an issue. He needs that charge to finish up, and it looks like he is going to get it.
Oh man, taking one for the team is that Stalker over there.
Yeah, keep an eye on
You will
what's
never
going on.
defeat my Master Zest.
It's kind of like a little tiny force field as well. Yeah, I don't know.
Another warp in.
This
I don't
really
know.
feels like it's held.
I don't think that Zest even needs to go down the ramp and fight if he doesn't want to. But he's going to anyways.
Well, if he ever thinks he can break it, that's basically a game-winning moment.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Whoa, not bad.
That
That's a
was
lot of Frozen Stalkers.
What a nice stasis war. There was some indecision there by Zest. It looked like he started to target and then
Okay,
stopped.
I think Deer might win this now. Because
Yeah.
these Immortals isolating these Stalkers. You know what? I don't know if he should have pushed down there.
Well, I think Zest still holds. Like, he just can make charge lots from here. There's not enough Archons to really stop him like that.
Yeah, well, I think it's, you know, it's weird because he has one Archon, Deer does, with like no shields on it. He's going to get two more. He needs to keep the injured Archon in the back. There's 3 Immortals, though, which could pan out to do a lot of damage, particularly against these Stalkers. And as long as you keep those Archons alive, you melt the Zealots. I don't know about pushing up here, but I guess, you know, in this moment, Deer is really on the clock here. Okay, so then he triggers all of the charges there by the Zealots.
You know, I think that this was well, I can't believe that Deer, or Zest rather, is pushing down this tiny ramp into this. I'm
surprised.
The most crazy part of it.
I feel like he has almost a bad read on this game now. If he wins the fight, he wins anyways, but that's kind of going into risky territory there to try that out.
Seems like he's got enough and he'll just end up holding it, but I feel like what I just this reminds me a lot of some games that we saw from Beyond where it was like, why are you Backwater? Remember that map Backwater where 3 bases could be held with 1 choke?
Yeah.
And then Beyond would just go mass barracks and try to break, and it's like...
He tries to push it, it's like, well, you only got 1 location to defend, buddy.
Yeah, and this reminds me of that, where it's like, it's King's Cove. You have to go up a ramp into a very easily defendable third base. Deer, you have a unit set that scales better into the late game. Why are we not just taking our third base? You can take it quicker than normal. If it's a normal, more flat, open third, then he has to take it later regardless.
It's an odd game as well in the sense that I thought Deer was in a better position, and then he's the one that opted to go for a closer attack. It's like, what are you doing, man? Just keep getting ahead.
Yeah.
You don't need, I mean, the DTs didn't do that much damage.
Maybe he misjudged